Greetings, spirit beings, greetings, supreme being. Welcome to Universal Peace Radio. What I've noticed is that when I want to start my broadcast, and Jesuits or whoever controls HARP basically makes me go to the toilet, and they also can start directed energy weapon torture attacks. They've severely burned my esophagus, my throat, basically, to my stomach, and well, that's the main reason for this broadcast. So I think that directed energy weapon torture of innocent vegetarians like myself has to be stopped to create a perfect society in which we all can live happily eternally. And I think that's possible because everything is energy. Okay. But it's not gonna happen if nobody does it, of course.
Limited airborne transmission of Ebola is very likely, new study says. Washington Post 2 hours ago share. A team of prominent researchers suggested Thursday that limited airborne transmission of the Ebola virus is very likely, a hypothesis that
Well, it's the airborne Ebola Lassa Chimera virus with sticky end RNA. So yeah, I think it's airborne. If people with hazmat suits get contaminated, then it's airborne basically. There's no other way. That's why they come out with the glove thing basically. They have to take off their equipment in a certain way not to get contaminated.
to your health, limited airborne transmission of Ebola is very likely, new study says. An electron micrograph scan shows the Ebola virus emerging from an infected cell. Night NIH.
WHO.
A team of prominent researchers suggested Thursday that limited airborne transmission of the Ebola virus is very likely, a hypothesis that could reignite the debate that started last fall after one of the scientists offered the same opinion. It is very likely that at least some degree of Ebola virus transmission currently occurs via infectious aerosols generated from the gastrointestinal tract, the respiratory tract, or medical procedures, although this has been difficult to definitively demonstrate or rule out, since those exposed to infectious aerosols also are most likely to be in close proximity to and in direct contact with an infected case, the scientists wrote. Their peer-reviewed study was published in Embio, a journal of the American Society of Microbiology. The study's lead author, Michael T. Osterholm, an epidemiologist at the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, touched off a small hearing was condemned by some experts last September 11th when he raised the same possibility in an op-ed piece in the New York Times as concern over the spread of the deadly, incurable disease was increasing rapidly. Less than a month later, Thomas Eric Duncan, a librarian infected with Ebola in his home country, died in a Dallas hospital, but not before two nurses who treated him became infected, sparking fears about how prepared U.S. hospitals were to handle the disease. Public health authorities reassured Americans they were in no danger of contracting the hemorrhagic disease from casual contact with others. Ebola is transmitted by contact with infected body fluids, mainly blood, feces and vomit, experts around the world have said. This is why healthcare workers and people who had contact with victims were most likely to become infected in the current epidemic, they said. There was almost a rush to ensure the public that we knew a lot more than we did, Osterholm said in an interview Wednesday night, repeating a theme he has raised many times before. But we're saying you can't rule out respiratory transmission. As Sterling's September opinion piece focused on the possibility that the virus could mutate and eventually become airborne, a theory that other experts widely dismissed as extremely unlikely. As of Wednesday, Ebola had sickened 23,253 people, killing 9,380 of them, all but a handful in the three West African countries, according to the World Health Organization. As evidence, the study notes that Ebola virus has been found on the outside of face masks worn by health workers caring for victims of the disease. It also points out that a different strain of the virus has been passed between animals via respiration. WashingtonPost.com. CDC ready to vaccinate 6,000 against Ebola in Sierra Leone. Newscom 1 hour ago. This trial will test just one of the Ebola vaccines in development. One of the Ebola virus to help train the immune system to recognize it. Ebola, British health worker brought to UK from Sierra Leone for The Guardian, Feb 18, 2015. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is helping prepare for a new Ebola vaccine trial in Sierra Leone, the country that's now the worst hit by the Ebola epidemic. The CDC will work with Sierra Leonean authorities to vaccinate up to 6,000 healthcare workers, including doctors, nurses, and ambulance drivers, against a virus that's infected more than 11,000 people in Sierra Leone alone, killing 3,400 of them. This trial will test just one of the Ebola vaccines in development, one designed by U.S. and Canadian government researchers with a company called NewLink Genetics and licensed to Merck. It uses an animal virus called vesicular-stomatitis virus, VSV, to carry tiny pieces of the Ebola virus to help train the immune system to recognize it. Ebola's infected more than 23,000 people in West Africa and killed more than 9,300 of them, according to the World Health Organization. The study is designed to offer the vaccine to healthcare workers and other frontline workers. Several vaccine trials are underway in or planned for Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, and researchers are also testing drugs and blood products such as plasma to see if they help patients recover from the highly lethal virus. Right now, the CDC is making sure the healthcare workers who will be vaccinated are on board with the idea.
Wow. So the mic is still on. Well, the whole principle of vaccines is basically... Get the video on. The whole principle of vaccines is basically the same as eating some poop from the sewer to make yourself immune. Triggering your own body's natural immune system, hoping you don't die from it. So they've also often shipped these vaccines, they call them with live viruses instead of deactivated viruses. And the list of pandemics caused by vaccinations is also found on Wix-Ebola. You can Google the words W-I-X and Ebola with the letter G attached to it, Wix-Ebola.
We have been doing quite a bit of engagement in country with the healthcare workers who will be part of the study, said Dr. Anne Scotchard, director of CDC's National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases. The study is designed to offer the vaccine to healthcare workers and other frontline workers, Scotchard told NBC News.
So New York Times scientists also made clear that You don't need a vaccine, you only need vitamin C. They're making a sort of sound, but okay, by controlling my brainwave of synthetictelepathy.com. Plus, colloidal silver also kills the Ebola virus effectively, according to the scientific reports of the SDRA, of the DoD, Strategic Threat Reduction Agency, and UCLA, and many others. So it's already scientifically proven that colloidal silver kills it, and blocking these colloidal silver shipments, which they've done according to naturalnews.com, is murder, because these tests have shown that the Ebola virus is killed by colloidal silver. In reality, they're trying to make my voice fade out with the cancer heart attacks. So I think people should press charges against the loonies that have blocked these colloidal silver shipments or trials in Ebola-struck countries. Ebola outbreak. Liberia schools reopen after 6-month closure. 6 months, no school. That's interesting. So if it's not mandatory, I advise not to take the vaccine. Take vitamin C and colloidal silver. So I still have to check what vaccine they're going to use, but it's clear they want to depopulate the Earth. But in such an early phase, they cannot yet really make everybody that takes the vaccine die. So these companies are legally immune, etc. So it might not be the rabies-based Ebola vaccine, and it might not have lipid nanotechnology, which is basically self-replicating nanobots that eat your brain selectively to turn you into a lesbian or homosexual by eating the feminine and masculine centers of your brain. With these T4 bacteriophages, you can Google it all, and I'm not making anything up. So I'm not the one who's claiming this. There are other people that have claimed this, and I think it's a good idea to spread the information before they start force vaccinating us all to death and home quarantining us to death, which is their ultimate goal, of course, to depopulate 500 million. That work. Okay. So I can advise you all to buy Cloudbusters and some other thing. Colloidal silver and H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, so-called peroxygen, and coconut oil, extra virgin coconut oil. It smells so wonderful. Oh yeah. Really nice smell of coconuts. The white color. One of the smells I love best. See if we see any other interesting stuff. I was going to check the Who7's channel for some more on Ebola. So in reality, I'm not afraid of Ebola. I'm afraid that people won't take colloidal silver and that it will become a global pandemic and that we're all force vaccinated to death, because I've had a precognitive vision of me being shot outside. So that means long home quarantines, basically. And then the question is if that would be a world war or foreign troops in our country. Probably it was a Talon robot, and probably it might take another year or 2 or 3 before Ebola becomes a global Ebola pandemic. But if it is the Ebola Lassa chimera virus with sticky end RNA, sticky end DNA, and it interlocks with other viruses, and then, of course, it will become a global Ebola pandemic. It's designed to become one, and then the question is, how can people prove that or do anything about it? And I think the only way is spreading colloidal silver flyers at the airports of infected countries and in the countries themselves to make people immunize themselves by taking colloidal silver. And the measures they are taking are not effective, and they've injected this virus in people in Africa, according to sources online. And then there are 5,000 dead gorillas they may have tested on, and a lot more about this nosocomial virus that's spread in and through hospitals, and antibody-dependent Ebola virus that attacks people with more antibodies faster and kills them faster than people with less antibodies. You can read on my blog. And that's according to scientists and stuff, so then I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm not going to have an opinion about it until I see more evidence, basically. Okay, what I can do is just this. The Book 7 usually has interesting news, so I should just play one video and then let the thing autoplay all the videos. I've pressed load more twice. Okay, another method. I think they're blocking clicking on the page. Played out just so it's against HAARP. It's part of the program. That probably have some light to back up what they're doing to depopulate to 500 million in violation of the Genocide Convention. I reloaded the page and it works. That's not giving the videos in order I would like to see them. Bright fireballs seen in the sky from Ohio to New York. Could that be the comet of Nostradamus, or is it not Nostradamus' comet?
Above Ohio and all the way up.
Right,
there has been a massive.
Let's listen to Dabu 7.
There has been a massive fireball that has ripped through the skies, seen above Ohio and all the way up into New York. Some of these sky cams caught this in Ohio and in Pittsburgh. I want to run this clip so you guys can see it.
I'm ready to be taught.
This is slowed down right here so you guys can see it a little bit better.
What is it?
Here's a shot from another sky cam. And yet one more. I'll leave links.
Perhaps it's just a satellite burning up in the Earth's atmosphere or something like that. China Beijing's mayor declares city unlivable. They're taking my throat.
big time admission coming from the mayor of Beijing. And it's pretty sad when the people that are running these cities come out and say, look, this place is just flat out unlivable. What most people would think is some kind of fog on a rainy day here in this picture, it isn't. This is normal pollution in this area, and it's downright sickening. It's absolutely dangerous, is what many officials are saying. And like I said before, some of them are saying that this is just unlivable. Now, China's air pollution has grown increasingly worse over the years. And years ago, we all knew about this, and they were supposed to be taking these measures to try to fix this. However, the trek to curb this environmental crisis has been a very slow one, and the economic growth is still taking on this boom. Everything's still growing. They have all these people. I mean, we all know China, packed full of people, all the cars on the roads.
So I just talk along with people sometimes.
Since they wanted to let this
what they do with heart
creep up on them and do nothing about it, now they're going to have to pay the price. We all know about the ghost cities that they have as well. They also state this is going to affect other things. Acidification now affects 30% of China's cropland, and the estimated damage to farms, forests, and human health is around 13 billion. So this air pollution has effects on a lot of other things here, and in the long haul, not only the air that they're breathing, but the crops that they're trying to grow, everything's failing because it can't get this oxygen that it needs here. This is just downright pollution all across this area, and I think it's the worst on the planet, to be honest. I'm not sure if there's any other place
looks great. Picture looks wonderful.
that has conditions that are worse than what you see in China. I'll leave a link. Until next time, this has been Dr. Sim.
Reminds me of the picture of New York. Anyway, aren't these standards for cancer causing barium transgressed in nearly every major European city worldwide? Yes, we can. Under the open sky treaty, we can poison everybody to death with Ebola, and it's still legal. Legend. So I think most people don't know what they're breathing now. I think it's not organic tobacco. So 80% of the American tobacco or more is genetically modified. And I'm taking a break. 50 simple. Just another oh, recently hasn't done anything about it. Which is interesting because it's on the rise again. I don't know if you read it on the BBC, but I covered it in my broadcast.
back.
Silver Smurfer has returned. I smurfed my own silver. So when you make a lot of silver, you have to be careful that you use pure silver and water, that you don't turn into a smurf, basically. It's the idea. So don't use coins when you make silver, basically. Unless you want to become blue, perhaps some people want to become blue. You know, famous and everything. I just warn of mass extinction for Earth. When you hover the mouse over it, it should show. Rest of the title. Scientists want.
We have kind of a chilling warning coming from scientists, but at the same time, it offers a wake-up call and a ray of hope. Now, the first comprehensive study of its kind has determined that ocean life is facing a mass extinction event. And this is from human activity. And like I said, they say that this is still reversible. It's unlike the impact that we have on land. Now, they say that the damage being done to the coral reef, resource mining, fish farming, construction work, chemical pollution, depletion of bioresources, just to name a few. And they don't mention
chemical pollution.
One of the biggest,
very bad,
which is Fukushima. Now they state that this is going down.
It has already reached the US,
quick.
I think. So
and you hear about these things all the time, but this study says it makes it clear for the first time ever that they've brought all of these different strains together, all of these different tests. They've went down and tested the seabed floor. They've gone through mining, shipping lanes, all this
but red
data
tide is also awful.
in this study.
Caused by salt.
And the final analysis is that
Unnatural
where we
soap.
sit now, animals dying, and the
And the
rate
fish
of
start
pollution
jumping
and
above the
everything that I said
water.
before.
Red tide. You can look it up.
It's
My
not
parents had a fish farm in
So
Ireland.
this study goes in depth into all types of different details, but
So I can run down the mountains into the sea.
I think it's kind of obvious in this world that we live in that
Urtichromite
powers that
Good
be
soap.
that just don't seem to
and
care.
Hair Bell is really
They'll act
awesome.
like they care and hide
Shampoo.
behind global
Oh,
warming
sorry,
and
it's
this and
the
that.
hand.
But you can look around you and see all the other things that are wrong that they don't care about. And when it comes to this ocean, you kill that ocean and all the life in it, you kill this planet, period. All in all, in the end, it's on us. You know, the global elite, the corporations, they're not going to stop churning out their toxic plumes of chemical smoke and filling the ocean
So
with
perhaps
radiation
seaweed
like they're
could
doing Fukushima. I mean,
help.
it's just huge. It
planting seaweed and stuff.
never talked about in the mainstream media.
Iodine.
And that alone.
I don't know
doing
if there's
significant
something that
damage.
breaks down this nuclear contamination naturally.
One thing I know to do
That's
is talk about it. Raise the question and put it out there. Look where we sit now. This new study shows because of all this, they're saying
Nuclear fission.
150 years out from now, a lot of these creatures could be extinct for real. Something's got to give. I don't know if anybody cares, but if you do, I'll leave a link.
Yeah, I care. That's why I'm thinking about what we can do about it. Oh, well, you have a seat back in Norway. You're there, that doesn't mean that we have one too. FCC to vote on Obama's call for government-run internet in February or something. Universal peace has begun out here. So these are not about Ebola, but also interesting. Of course, I gotta hear this. Real Dabu 7. It's an auto of
hacked. This is the most recent. And as you can see over here
isn't it to desensitize us to think that the World War III could happen and that it's okay if every living thing without a Tesla plasma shield would die? Because their technology has made nuclear weapons obsolete. But okay, let's see how this is meant, perhaps in the info war. But then it would be the first info war, which I won. Makes sense.
But check this out. Over at UPI, they have been hacked. This is the most recent. And as you can see over here off of other feeds here, the New York Post and other Twitter accounts have been hacked. The one that was ran by the New York Post, they admitted it off of another feed. And they since, I guess, gained control. But other accounts, UPI here, which has been in the news business out of Washington, D.C. since 1907, has been hacked. And you can see right here, Obama. You see the USS George Washington damaged. U.S. Navy now engaged in active combat against Chinese vessels in the South China Sea. Federal Reserve announces banking holiday, January 23rd. Bank of America CEO calls for calm. Saving accounts will not be affected. And the biggest one here, World War III has begun. So this is what's happening, and right on cue with Obama and Cameron coming on live television trying to tell the whole world, look, this is what's going on. We need access to get to terrorist accounts. That's what we're trying to talk to these companies about. They could be sending emails and tweets and we have no way to get it. Come on. Everything we know about all these platforms connected to the NSA and so on and so forth, it continues. But what I want to point out is that these hacks are going down right as they're saying this. And although the NY Post seemed to get theirs in check rather quickly, UPI.com, and this is their verified account here, seems to still be compromised. So my guess is this type of stuff is going to continue, and they're trying to use all this to play right into their hand when it comes to new laws and things of that nature down the road. So that's the latest. I'll leave a link to keep you guys posted if I see any more hacks, and I'm sure there's going to be more. It's been Dabu 7. Peace.
Perhaps I don't get it.
Pope Francis said that a piecemeal World War III has already begun, in a recent speech that he gave at a BBC News. Pope Francis warns on piecemeal World War III, www.bbc.com. A piecemeal World War III may have already begun with the current spate of crimes, massacres, and destruction, Pope Francis has warned. He was speaking during a visit to Italy's largest military cemetery, where he was commemorating the centenary of World War I. War's madness, the Pope said at a memorial to 100,000 Italian soldiers at Vita Piglia Cemetery near Slovenia. The Argentine Pope has often condemned the idea of war in God's name. Only last month, Pope Francis said the international community would be justified in using force to stop what he called unjust aggression by Islamic State militants, who have killed or displaced thousands of people in Iraq and Syria, including many Christians, the BBC's David Willey reports. In Saturday's homily, standing at the altar beneath Italy's fascist-era Vita Piglia Memorial, where 100,000 Italian soldiers killed during WWI are buried, 60,000 of them unnamed, the Pope paid tribute to the victims of all wars. Humanity needs to weep, and this is the time to weep, he said. Pope Francis is presented with the document with which his grandfather enlisted to fight for Italy before emigrating to Argentina. Even today, after the second failure of another world war, perhaps one can speak of a third war, one fought piecemeal, with crimes, massacres, destruction, he said. The pontiff's visit was also infused with personal meaning, our correspondent says.
Unfought piecemeal. Lokita, Ditele, Linguini.
His grandfather fought in, and survived, Italy's offensive against the Austro-Hungarian Empire in northeast Italy in 1917 and 1918. In recent months, the Pope has called for an end to conflicts in Iraq, Syria, Gaza, Ukraine, and parts of Africa.
Luft.
118, AIG Vice President disappears, 7,934 views 1 month ago.
Well, for anybody...
Universal peace now. Whatever. Cool, no?
Players behind all the madness that is created. Well, for anybody out there paying attention to the game and the world stage for all these years, and paying attention to what's happening in Ukraine, and trying to figure out the key players behind all the madness that is created, shocking revelations coming through some mainstream media outlets showing the proof that I've stated all along, that people just did not want to believe that these events in Ferguson and elsewhere have all been staged and backed by the elite. And they're
Slant.
insult my queen. The messenger will bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. Threaten my people with slavery and death. Chosen I was carefully chosen. But you have done the same. Spartan! Madness!
Okay.
This is Sparta!
Okay. I turn off this copyright violation. Okay. Should download it. Oh, download it. Come on now. Please. Sorry, this is supposed to. Oh, yes, this is good.
Monkey Kid 712.
Come on now. Picked. And the whole day. Clicked on that one as well on the tab. I thought it was on the screen sharing. And it's evidence you're blocking my computer. I think they're trying to hide the amount of likes. They hide that this is Sparta likes on YouTube. Conspiracy. There's gonna be this on Wiki. Okay. So if anybody can watch this on YouTube, we can review it, of course. It's no direct audio.
YOLO. Hey, Luigi. Mama Luigi. Sparta. Oh, Chuck Tester. Clean 17 Smoke weed every day. Nope. Over 9,000. NEM. Cotton kick.
This is a weird video or not?
Toon Link.
Okay.
And water. You'll find plenty of both down there. No personal grief. No man threatens a messenger. Bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. Insult my
305 different languages. This is Sparta.
Oh, I've chosen my words carefully, Persian. Perhaps you should have done the same. This is blasphemy. This is madness. Madness. Sparta! Wir werden uns fassen. Beides findest du reichlich darauf. Kein Mensch, ob Perser oder Grieche, kein Mensch droht einem Gesang. Frauen besiegter Könige in meiner Stadt von mir aus. Und aus meinem Volk bist du aber kein Unkraut. Ich habe Antwort von irgendwann. Wahnsinn.
Das ist Sparta! It sucks too much. I'm gonna roll. Oh, it's so loud.
Sulla soglia della mia spalla, tu insulti la mia regina, tu minacci il mio popolo di schiavitù e morte. Oh, sì, parole con attenzione, Persiano. Forse avreste dovuto fare lo stesso. Questo è blasfemia! Questo è pazzia! Pazzia?
Rechargeable batteries are better. Anyway. It sounds more like it's recorded. And listening to a recording of a recording. That's why it's interesting.
Admitting it. Well, for anybody out there paying attention to the game and the world stage for all these years and paying attention to what's happening in Ukraine and trying to figure out the key players behind all the madness that is created, shocking revelations coming through some mainstream media outlets showing the proof that I've stated all along, that people just did not want to believe, that these events in Ferguson and elsewhere have all been staged and backed by the elite, and they're admitting it. George Soros, tied in to so many different things, it could go on and on and on. This billionaire has been caught putting out at least $33 million in 1 year to support already established groups that emboldened the grassroots, on-the-ground activists in Ferguson. Now, this is according to most recent tax filings of his nonprofit Open Society Foundations. So these tax filings have blown this whole thing wide open, showing who has supported this whole orchestration. There's no more guessing. There's no more trying to point the finger at this group or that group. This lone billionaire with the key mark 33 million with his Illuminati signature right there on it. It doesn't get any bigger than this. We're trying to figure out who's behind this whole orchestration. It's right here, right now. This man behind all of it. And all proven through his tax filings. Now, let this be a lesson as to what else you can uncover when looking at tax filings. Now, guys, I don't know what else to say, because at this point, you're going to be able to backtrack and you're going to be able to look at all of these events, everything that happened all the way down into Ferguson, down to the fires, everything I explained before in that initiative, that plan to redo that whole West Florissant corridor, all of that. And now come to find out that every single one of these groups was backed by a billionaire. Are you kidding me? This is gold. And from here on out, anywhere you see these groups, now you know the truth. This is going to shock many of them, because they didn't even know where this funding was coming from. They didn't even know who sat at the top. They just ran around blindly in the streets. That's right, the enemy controlling you. People better wake up quick.
Saudi Arabia is building a 600-mile Great Wall to shield itself from ISIS, 10,303 views 1 month ago.
Oh yeah, I should also warn for dares. Some people do dares on YouTube. And I've seen a girl eating soap, and some of them eat marshmallows, which is made of the carcasses of pigs, basically, and it may not be kosher. It could be genetically modified to sterilize you, etc. So it's a good idea to watch out with that. Perhaps I should show bungee jumpers plunging to death or parachutists and stuff. That's interesting. Anonymous making a death threat. Well, of course, depopulating the earth, what can I say?
Anonymous declares war? Alleged group, we will track you down and will kill you.
Bilderberg Whoopi.
This is Tapu 7. I recently covered how Anonymous said they were launching this Operation Charlie Hebdo. Now, I want to make it clear that this anonymous unit out of Belgium has declared war, and not only that, they specifically state that they are going to track down these people and kill them. This takes it to a whole new level. This is no longer hackers hacking and shutting down websites. And many people asking, why does Anonymous care to get involved in this? And it's bringing up a lot of questions as to who's behind this. Who is this certain unit in Belgium? One thing's for sure, for the first time, out of all of the threats that have ever come out of Anonymous's mouth, keyboard, they have threatened death.
So then,
on
if you can hear the
individuals,
keyboard, and
that they're going to track them down and kill them.
well, only if he wants, of course.
I'll leave a link. It's Madabu 7.
So basically, if you don't want to hear me, you can't hear me. I'm just trying to create universal peace, make everybody eternal, and create a perfect society in which we all live happily eternally. Aaron Swartz also has some interesting ideas about internet and stuff. So, whatever, erotic ideas might be better. Make sure you don't kill the wrong ones. First has to be evidence, and basically it's like not to redeem a murderer from the death penalty for money, not to convict anyone without a fair trial, but Abraham stood up and slew the Egyptians. So if a fair trial is impossible, then you could argue you have to do justice yourself to prevent the loonies from taking over and killing us all. It's interesting that Netanyahu in France calls on all Jews in Europe to flock to Israel.
This is top shooting and everything else that's going on here. We apparently have Netanyahu boarding a plane. This is Tabu 7. An update to this France shooting and everything else that's going on here. We apparently have Netanyahu boarding a plane so he and Abbas and their crew can attend this mass rally because a Jewish market was shot up in this whole event. On December 2nd, the France Parliament passed a resolution asking that France recognize a Palestinian state. December 2nd, and just a week ago, Israel informed France that it was deeply disappointed with France's vote on this UN resolution that would require Israel and its forces to withdraw to their pre-1967 borders and to do so by 2017. Not happy. Now these attacks have happened in France, but they're showing up for support. Even though just last week they were deeply disappointed, he is running to the podium, and now Netanyahu is calling on all Jews
You're hurting my right
in Europe.
Well, I scratched my balls a little bit.
Not the West. The centerpiece, France, obviously, because of these events.
Because I've burned my scrotum.
He is calling on all the Jews.
So these infant eaters really want to depopulate.
To their land. He's telling all of them, come home to Israel. No matter who you are, where you're at, we will welcome you with open arms. We will accommodate you right now. This is what he's saying. And I'm telling you, this being 5775 and what it all means to them and him calling all these Jews back to Israel, it's an ominous sign. People want to know who's behind all this stuff, everything that's going down. So I just went ahead and dropped a bombshell over on Zeekly, pinning it all down.
With Ebola spreading, I think as well would be pretty safe if not lawful. So, universal peace now. Major tapping on the mirror. Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti first, of course, so whatever. Oh, I'm still breathing. Okay. So I think the Jewish girl that drew swastika on synagogues, or whatever, is, well, why would it be a one-time event? I mean, okay, so the WTC thing, WTC being demolished by the Jesuits instead of the official story, with thermite, but in the form of thermite, analyzed by Dr. Not Alex Jones. And you can see these explosives going off in the video I've shown, also in my previous broadcast. So it was demolished that event should not lead us to believe that there are no terrorists, Muslims that want to kill all non-Muslims, basically. So I am for keeping track of these terrorists that may have killed one or more non-Muslims, and we should not be blinded by the WTC, which 2,000 people died. I think that the Muslims don't do anything in that area. I've seen beheadings of Kim Jong-il or whatever, the reporter. Kim Jong-un, I don't know. No, it was something with Kim Jong, I think. A name like that anyway, so it sounded a lot like Kim Jong-il anyway. And that video is online somewhere as well. So religion is a lie, religion is an illusion, religion is slavery for the mind. Religion is a tool for war creation, depopulation. Religion is an abomination. Because there is no hereafter, and we need to create a permanent cure against aging in a perfect society. And people are walking in the front lines of battle, giving their lives for God, and they're not doing that. And we all die because of that, so that's why it sucks. There are also good values, like depart from evil and do good, etc. But the real law is what can get you in jail, and sometimes, for example, smashing of statues, which they may not talk about, can get them in jail because it's illegal. Anyway, so I'm also against mutilating of little children, and the Muslims do that a lot more than what they call the Jewish people, because there are many more Muslims than there are what they call Jewish people. Anyway, there are Jewish people I love as well. So there are interpretations possible where, for example, we have to try to be like the Most High, like God. It's considered a commandment. And I am, that's part in the Bible that's about that. But if it's a quantum computer and it's not almighty, then it cannot make us eternal instantly and create a perfect society instantly. So then that's important. Plus, their illegal voices come messages maybe from satanic infant eaters that want to control you and want you to believe they're God, so they're not God, and they keep on controlling you almost. So whatever. There's more for Ebola. I think that will be the main depopulation tool, not war and other stuff. These people that predicted the Third World War with a date were all wrong. These ones that I saw. We have a video about Ebola. Here it is. Quarantine in Moscow. That's so cool.
Because of an Ebola scare. Because of any
fear-mongering to inject us all with the killer vaccines to leap up to 500 mil.
Well, for the second time here in 24 hours, we have seen a flight grounded because of an Ebola scare. This time it's in Moscow, and this is a flight coming from Paris, where they state that passengers on this plane were showing signs of Ebola or suspected Ebola symptoms. Nothing specific, although they did quarantine this plane for 4 hours, left everybody on the plane upset, not able to get out. They stated that they were all left in the dark as to what was going on, although they want to come out and state that the chances of these people having Ebola was very low. Now, I showed in the other video, they're making people fill out all the paperwork, getting their information to try to track them back down if this happens to be Ebola. But what's odd to me is right before the last big wave of Ebola, and the mainstream media constantly talking about it, it started off like this. Hearing about these passengers sick on flights that were being brought down and removing these people, quarantining these people. Now, here we go again, it seems like.
Unnecessary, they can take
That
over.
is the latest here. I just wanted to cover it and let it be known that, yet again, another plane quarantined, this time in Moscow.
So I think I agree
I'll
with
leave a
Abu
link
Seven.
to
This
the
is
other
fear
side.
mongering to
Peace.
kill everybody with killer vaccines. It may have an incubation period of their choosing, especially if it's genetically modified. These companies are all legally immune. So if we all die from them, then we cannot sue them because then we're dead. But I think they'll wait with the deadly one until it's a global Ebola pandemic. And that they'll keep on pretending they have a new vaccine and that another person tested negative for Ebola every day in the news, downplaying the risk to spread the virus with sticky and RNA. And that almost nobody knows what I'm talking about, basically. There are very few people that know everything I know about Ebola. Of course, people spreading it might know a lot more than I do. But, well, the question is how the beast computer works. If it's controlled by Satanists of the NSA that are spreading this, then you can depend on the beast computer to catch these creeps or people. Colo terrorista! Undo the Harlem Shake. That's interesting. So perhaps we will all be making love with holograms in the future. We'll all be separated so they can control us. So we can form a little group.
What they've done here is they've created this 3D image that you can obviously see and you can touch, feel, and interact with it. It's called immersive, highly visual 3D environments. And because of some scientists now experiencing
So they don't want us to be
success
united. They want
and
to
messing
divide
with
us, to defeat us.
basically controlling sound waves to project 3D haptic holograms, they say that they can now touch and feel all kinds of different things.
And take your
Now,
breath.
at first, they were only able to make these 2D outlines in midair. Now, they can make full shapes. And by introducing a leap motion, which tracks the position of a user's hand, they can basically set this thing into motion and calibrate it. And the human hand
Oh yeah, and then
can
if it's a hot
feel
hologram, then
the
their hand
objects.
burns and they touch it. Radiate,
So,
burn it off.
maybe a little complicated to understand, but
Just helping.
pretty cool technology. And this is the type of stuff that I would say you'll see incorporated into other things here in the next 5, definitely 10 years. I mean, the technology's here. And now there's not only 3D stuff out here that you can see, but now you're going to be able to reach out and touch and feel it. That's pretty crazy. I'll leave a link. It's Padabu 7. Eyes open.
Hmm. Oh, there it is. I got to hear this. Turn it loud and make it loud.
This so-called all right, ISIS, so-called ISIS militants coming out claiming they have a crude weapon that they've made using materials seized from Mosul University. Now, I reported on this months ago. They have some 88 pounds of uranium. Now, although U.S. officials want to try to downplay it, experts state that if they were to do something like this in a packed area, it'd definitely kill a lot of people. But the toxic plume is what you want to watch out for too. Where would they do this? No one knows, but I can tell you this much. It's fear-based propaganda, once again. And that's all they rely on here. These guys are propped up on that. They had 30,000 Iraqi soldiers drop their phones, their guns, their clothes, everything, and take off running through psychological warfare. Fear. When in all reality, this 30,000 troops probably would have wiped them out. If they would have fought and tried, they didn't. It's the mind game here. And I believe that's what they're trying to play here once again. And, you know, they want Assad. I wouldn't doubt it if something like that, if it was to take place, happened inside of Syria. Now, you know, like I said before, they're trying to push this and that. But we also have, at the same time, the UK warning that ISIS is plotting to blow up 5 passenger planes in a Christmas spectacular. So they know about this. And once again, if anything happens, it's because somebody let it happen. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the airports are looking like over there, if they've ramped up anything or what the word is over there on the street. But this is what they're stating, and that this tip-off was discovered by American intelligence that state that they killed the French mastermind that was behind making these bombs, but the genie was out of the bottle. That all these other militants had already learned how to do it, and that they're desperately trying to pull off an attack before Christmas. They know how to do it, and they're looking forward to doing it, and that's the plan. And that's what they're stating. So more of the fear-based propaganda with ISIS. And like I said before, if anything happens, they let it happen. And this is the time of year where they like to pull off these false flags. Well, they'll do it any time of year, but, you know, the time is right. You can almost feel it in the air. It's going to happen somewhere. Just where? Matter of time. And with all these threats flying out here, I guess we'll just have to sit back and wait and see what happens. And then we'll have to tear the whole situation apart like we always do. Proving once again that it's a false flag event for whatever reason. And maybe that's what's stalling them out this time. Every single event they pull off, the guys out here just pick it apart. And hey, that's what they're good at. And this won't be any different. The same goons, the same elite, pulling off the same crap, and it's not going to stop till we come together as a people under one banner, united, and destroy this beast in all of its genocidal theatrics across the globe. If not, they'll continue to pick everybody off one by one and run everybody against each other. It's up to you. It's been W7. Eyes open.
Universal peace now. I'm in my water bed over here. I don't know if you can hear me, but the idea was we were sick. Now it's sick twice. Basically, you can contribute like sick that you can drink and also sick like cold. what if I totally disagree with what you're doing and I think it's making me feel like close to passing out, make me feel kind of sick at heart. Because I'm lying, I lost to bed for a while. They've been taking my heart to achieve this, so I might also take my blood pressure. To, a little bit myself. But look, I've been drinking clovers tea. They've been made of clovers, which is supposed to be good for your limbs as well, which they've been attacking recently, doing those decent lymphoma in my neck. About that stops, and I can just make more professional news broadcasts. I think I just need some light, and some nice logo. Perhaps I can do more things for universal peace, like lighting incense, and create a peaceful environment. There's 70 billion people out there, and I still remember the Tiananmen Square, the look tank. But I don't see a lot of materials in China, because China could be brought more about the West, more about China right now. Just like they're showing us only a little part of the world that they want us to see basically. Anyway, I think they've severely burned my, um, I don't know, something that's basically below my vocal cords to my stomach basically. It needs very severely damaging me. But they haven't do peace and lymphoma in me, and they keep on doing that. Oh, that's positive for peace and lymphoma. But if I stop doing it now, then I may be able to get it myself with the scalar wave generator. And I think we should set those rules, create universal peace, necessarily inverted society, which for that instead of destruction or enemies, etc. So I'm for placing missile shields so that Iran cannot attack Israel. And I'm also for preventing them from creating nuclear weapons. But I'm not for attacking their facilities without Russia's approval. Anyway, Russia should give approval if Iran has nuclear weapons. They execute the argue if they are NPT. But okay, if Israel also has nuclear weapons, then are they allowed to be NPT? I don't know what the rules are, I guess. I'm just trying to get not choose sides and create universal peace. So I think talking about peace also creates peace. You can think about all the ways you create universal peace. They're taking my throat to make me cough. Well, ending all wars is one way, and perhaps making an agreement between all countries. It was my universal peace agreement that I wrote Bush and others in 2012. That all countries agree that if a country strikes another country, that they end the attack and that they help the board of the attack and also stop the aggressor countries from destroying another country. That's in World War, basically, so that they never happen again. But they could all sign an agreement where they agree never to attack another country. Uh, if one does it, all countries together help to end that attack to save the civilians and, if necessary, destroy the military that is on the attack basically. So that's more of a continuity of society program, and they have a continuity of government program. So I think we need more continuity of society. later left, and okay, also sadistic, especially you can see it's like a demon through the program, like a mailer demon, this one's really benevolent AI. So they don't like when you expose the people that are really doing it, especially when people are accusing the wrong people for stuff because they're breaking close or they don't know any better, actually convinced that what they're saying is true. So I think people like the Book 7 and others are very intelligent, good citizens that are trying to help look out for possible false flags. I should also visit Jane Burgermeister's website. Alex Jones is also good. Cut. And sometimes I run into websites and I think I should visit the website again, but there are so many. But these are some of the websites I think are very good. To get some real useful information and even things to make your own survival bag, basically, or prepper bag. So these are people that prepare, I say, prepared, stuff like that. Good advice. Be prepared for the worst and make the best happen. However, it makes sense. And, I really can understand people that do evil for evil's sake, stuff like that. I think they have to do it. There's a little Satan and stuff that they're really punished. And, if they don't stick a needle through their eye and whatever. Some people might be tortured into it. And that can also use Mengele programming, so they're killed if they don't do what these Satanists want them to do. So that's another will. Basically, most people are not from Satanic families, I guess. Anyway, trust no one, nothing is what it seems.
Seven 45,480 ISIS leader is Simon Elliott, a Jewish-born Zionist CIA and Mossad agent. By current search.com, 4 months ago 6,915 views.
Well, what evidence is there to support it? And what does ISIS really say?
So, I hear from the Jewish media and their Gentile pawns screaming about this ISIS for weeks now to justify more slaughter and killing of my people back home. Do you think Arabs use acronyms? And when was the last time you ever saw Arabs using acronyms in anything they market or sell? Why would they use English acronyms when they are trying to appeal to constituents that mostly do not speak any English in Arab land? And how fitting that those acronyms are catchy, easy to remember, like ISIS, to be marketed to the blind sheep of the United States. So where does this ISIS acronym come from? And what intelligence agency actually uses that acronym ISIS, you ask? Wait, hold on. You mean to tell me the Jewish intelligence agency, Mossad, uses the acronym ISIS its whole entire life? What? Hold on. Seriously. Well,
Current search code.
have a listen for yourself.
You tell the story about how you try to find out what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
That was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should have, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad is institute, but when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered what he wanted to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. And if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS. Just simple words like that. Interestingly enough, kind of a British model. The British don't really like the names MI5 and MI6 for.
Did you get that? ISIS. ISIS. Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. You fools. What? Now you're going to tell me that this al-Baghdadi guy is an Arab leader of a caliphate? Come on. I'm sorry, but just sit down and shut your mouth, because you already know where I'm going to go with this. Yes, he is Jewish, and his name is Simon Elliott. Edward Snowden has already released documents proving that, and a French newspaper has already reported on this. But your Jewish masters in the U.S., especially your terrorist senator, John McCain, will not allow it to be publicized. And here is the same Jewish terrorist, Simon Elliott, masquerading as a leader of the Islamic Caliphate. And here he is hanging out with...
Beta Jesuits are taking my right arm near my lung, basically. So I can do anything to you. I'm not the Jesuit infant eaters that have tortured my mother to death with harp that are tyrannizing everybody, okay?
your Senator, John McCain, orchestrating and funding the new terrorist group. This is all nothing but a charade. And do not think for a minute this is just an isolated incident. They have been doing this for a long time. It is time to round up and arrest the majority of U.S. congressmen, senators, politicians, bankers, Wall Street executives, and corporate leaders, because they are all guilty of treason. And in this next clip, I will show how the majority of the quote-unquote Muslim terrorist leaders are actually Jewish and are masquerading as leaders of some sort of radical group only to sell you the propaganda right here in the media in the United States.
I mean, Loyola was a crypto
the
Jew.
so-called American Al-Qaeda, who proclaimed himself the media maven, if you will, for Al-Qaeda, and was helping to produce a lot of these so-called Al-Qaeda videos that were all over the internet that made Al-Qaeda look really bad and made the Muslims look bad.
Should you fail to comply in full, we will deem it sufficient justification to continue to fight and kill Americans.
Come to find out, Adam Gadon's real name was Adam Perlman. And not only was he, in fact, Jewish, he was the grandson of a member of the board of the Anti-Defamation League. And if you've been following the history of the Anti-Defamation League, you will find out they've been very much involved in covertly supporting a lot of these so-called American Nazi movements. In fact, all the way back, just about the time of World War II, there was this scandal at the head of the American Nazi Party, which had a total membership of like 6, and yet they were getting all this press, was arrested for embezzling from his sponsors, which turned out to be the ADL, so that kind of blew up in their faces. So anyway, we have Adam Perlman, and he's been going around saying, I'm Al-Qaeda, see, I got a turban on my head, I'm a terrible Muslim, gotta hate me, gotta be afraid of me, and of course everybody's laughing at him now because we all know who he is. Okay, so they have brought in the understudy, and there's a new American Al-Qaeda named Yosef Al-Khattab. Ooh, big scary name, and they've got a picture of him out there where he's holding all these guns and knives, and he's dressed up like a wannabe Rambo. and he's scowling at the camera, and he supposedly has this website with things in it, like pictures of the Statue of Liberty with an axe buried in the back of the head. I mean, very heavy-handed, very over the top.
There was also a link to a puppet show mocking Danny Pearl's beheading. Take a look.
You know, just looking more like a movie prop.
I heard about some fake beheadings.
So, as it turns out, this is another fake. His real name is Joseph Cohen.
He's a 39-year-old New York City taxi driver, as you mentioned. He called himself Yusuf al-Fatah, but he was born Joseph Cohen here in America. He is a Jew.
And he is another manufactured front to try and convince Americans that Al-Qaeda is actually here in the United States. This is why we've got to be doing this, doing surveillance on the American people and reading their email and listening to their phone calls and all this stuff, because you never know when we're going to get into a situation with the American Al-Qaeda. And it's all a front. It's a fake. He's up there. He's there to try and create an empire that doesn't really exist in order to justify the totalitarian treatment of the American people and to encourage us to go and attack them before they kill us. They're already here on the home front. We've got to go bomb those gosh darn Muslims, because they're infiltrating America, and they're ripping tags off of couch cushions, and they're causing global warming, and we've got to go over it. It's nonsense. It's all war propaganda.
You guys need to listen to me very, very carefully, especially to the American audience. Your country is under attack, and it is not under attack.
This one's called Smoking Gun Proves that ISIS is a CIA, Mossad, MI5 job. But still speaking out.
I, for one, have not the terrorist group named after a I, for one, have no doubt whatsoever that the terrorist group named after a Sumerian alien goddess and 24/7 on mainstream media has always been a fabrication of the shadow government. But in case you're still not convinced, these pictures of the U.S. Senator John McCain meeting a group of mercenaries in Syria in 2013 might change your mind. And that's because one of them bears an uncanny resemblance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who is supposed to be the head of the terrorist group named after a Sumerian alien goddess. According to several sources on the internet, unverified documents released by the former CIA double agent Edward Snowden and supposedly in possession of various outlets of the US mainstream media revealed that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is not only highly trained by Mossad and the CIA, but also that the whole ISIS operation is a joint of the US, Israeli and British intelligence, what would explain how American supplies and weapons allegedly destined to the Syrian and Turkish resistance ended up in the hands of ISIS. Now, one thing is conspiracy theorists making speculations about such matters, but another entirely different animal is Edward Corrigan, a prominent human rights attorney in Ontario, Canada, corroborating that ISIS is indeed a fabrication of the joint Mossad, CIA and MI6 during an interview for Iran's Press TV. Words that definitely won't be addressed by the Western media, neither the alleged documents released by Edward Snowden.
Involved in this. We see now the United States and the UK and other Western governments actually condemning the terrorists for their actions. Question though, sir, do you think that they would have even gotten this far if it hadn't been for the situation in Syria and basically the propping up of these kind of groups by Western governments.
I agree with that. I think that the whole ISIL and ISIS that were generated by the West, the Americans, the British, the Israelis have all been supporting them with arms and money.
ISIS is run by Simon Elliott, a Mossad agent, reports in
Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar. But the original foundation is simply from British intelligence. According to documents supposedly released by Edward Snowden, that al-Baghdadi, who's supposed to be the head of ISIL, he is actually was trained by the Mossad for a year and may in fact be a Mossad agent, and that he is trying to, I guess, organize Islamic fundamentalists and radicals to destroy the secular national Arab state of Syria. And they've expanded into Iraq. But you've got the American government, the British government, the Israelis supporting the Islamic fundamentalists in Syria.
ISIS Truth, al-Baghdadi or Simon Elliott, YouTube. Al-Baghdadi Simon Elliott exposed by Snowden Snow Job Hours, by Vasi Mohammed Vasi, 4 months ago, 175 views.
August 2014, 6014, if you are questioning the facts behind the Snowden snow job leaks about al-Baghdadi on Hell Wars. Here it is. Here's the real original story. Come out July 9th. No one found it because it was on an Islamic site and it was blocked by Western media. Snowden al-Baghdadi is the product of 3 intelligence cooperation, which would be triple canopy. Triple canopy. Get it? Triple canopy? 3? Triple? Ah, yes. Snowden al-Baghdadi is the product of 3 intelligence corporation, which translates to triple canopy, Blackwater, intelligence, CIA, Mossad combination. It's just blowing the lid off everything now. That Hal said, proving that the military contractors involved indeed are part of the triple canopy of Mossad, CIA, Blackwater that I've been talking about for the past
Blackwater is nowadays called
3 months.
Academy CIA.
Here we go. El Samara News
Are
Baghdad,
the company.
the original story to the detection of a former employee of the U.S. National Security Agency, Edward Snowden, the agency in cooperation with Red
Which might be the names they wanted to use to hide
intelligence and special task
what they are
force
talking
paved
about.
the way for the emergence of the state of Iraq in the 11 dash. There you go. Quoting sources of leaks about intelligence cooperation.
KGB is
Snowden,
FSB.
3 states
BFSA
are the
is
United States, Britain, and Israel. So that would be a combination of CIA, Mossad, and MI6 or M16, whatever they're called, to create a terrorist organization capable of tracking extremists from all over the world, which is what they do.
MI5
You get all these little
supposed to be
emails,
the
you go
best.
join their little fucking club,
Versus
most of them fucking have been
MI9.
looking for a paycheck in places and process symbols of the Hornet's Nest. A leaked document shows the National Security Agency that lasts the whole Bridge plan known as the Hornet's Nest to protect Israel, to create an Islamic slogan. Religion consists of a set of provisions that rejects any thought or other rival. So there you go. There's the original story. I'll leave you with that link.
Military.
The links to other links. There you go. And of course, this source is CNN. There it is. So there you go. Hell War News. I'm out of here.
Name activities, MI1 codes and ciphers. Later merged with other code-breaking agencies and became Government Code and Cipher School, now known as Government Communications Headquarters. MI2 information on Middle and Far East, Scandinavia, USA, USSR, Central and South America. MI3 information on Eastern Europe and the Baltic provinces, plus USSR, Eastern Europe and Scandinavia after summer 1941. Name activities, MI1 codes and ciphers. Later merged with other code-breaking agencies and became Government Code and Cipher School, now known as Government Communications Headquarters. MI2 Information on Middle and Far East, Scandinavia, USA, USSR, Central and South America. MI3 Information on Eastern Europe and the Baltic provinces, plus USSR, Eastern Europe and Scandinavia after summer 1941. MI4 Geographical Section Maps, transferred to military operations in April 1940. MI5 Counterintelligence. MI6 Liaison with Secret Intelligence Service and Foreign Office. MI7 Press and Propaganda, transferred to Ministry of Information in May 1940. MI8 Signals Interception and Communications Security. MI9 Escaped British POW Debriefing, Escape and Evasion, also, Enemy POW Interrogation until 1941. MI10 Technical Intelligence Worldwide. MI11 Military Security. MI12 Liaison with Censorship Organizations in Ministry of Information, Military Censorship. MI13 Not used, except in fiction, for example MI13, The Scary Fears. MI14 Germany and German-occupied territories, aerial photography until spring 1943. MI15 Aerial Photography. In the spring of 1943, aerial photography moved to the Air Ministry and MI15 became Air Defense Intelligence. MI16 Scientific Intelligence, formed 1945. 5. MI17 Secretariat for Director of Military Intelligence from April 1943. MI18 used only in fiction. MI19 Enemy Prisoner of War Interrogation, formed from MI9 in December 1941. ME, JIS, related to Joint Intelligence Staff, a subgroup of the Joint Intelligence Committee. Axis Planning Staff. MEL, R, Russian Liaison. The Directorate of Military Intelligence, DMI, was a department of the British War Office. 1. Over its lifetime, the Directorate underwent a number of organizational changes, absorbing and shedding sections over time. The Security Service, commonly known as MI5, Military Intelligence, Section 5, 2, is the United Kingdom's domestic counterintelligence and security agency and is part of its intelligence machinery alongside the Secret Intelligence Service, SIS. Also known as MI6, focused on foreign threats, Government Communications Headquarters, GCHQ, and Defense Intelligence, DI. All come under the direction of the Joint Intelligence Committee, JIC. The service has a statutory basis in the Security Service Act 1989 and the Intelligence Services Act 1994. Its remit includes the protection of British parliamentary democracy and economic interests, counter-terrorism and counter-espionage within the UK. Although mainly concerned with internal security, it does have an overseas role in support of its mission. Within the civil service community, the service is colloquially known as Box 500, after its official wartime address of P.O. Box 500. Its current address is P.O. Box 3255, London SW1P1A. 3. The service has had a national headquarters at Thames House on Millbank in London since 1995, drawing together personnel from a number of locations into a single headquarters facility. Thames House was, until March 2013, shared with the Northern Ireland Office, NIO, and is also home to the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, a subordinate organization to the Security Service. The service has offices across the United Kingdom, including an headquarters in Northern Ireland. 4. Details of the Northern Operations Centre in Greater Manchester were revealed by the firm who built it. 5. Plans to open the Northern Operations Centre were reported by the Manchester Evening News in February 2005. 6. And plans to open a permanent Scottish office in Glasgow were reported by the Scotsman in January that year. 7.
Operations of the service are required to be proportionate and compliant with British legislation including Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act 2000, Data Protection Act 1998 and various other items of legislation. Information held by the service is exempt from disclosure under Section 23 of the Freedom of Information Act 2000. 10. The current Director General is Andrew Parker, who succeeded Jonathan Evans on April 22, 2013. 11. The service has marked its centenary in 2009 by publishing an official history, written by Christopher Andrew, Professor of Modern and Contemporary History at Cambridge University. Information held by the service is exempt from disclosure. David Shayler, born December 24, 1965, is a British journalist and former MI5 Security Service officer. 1. Shayler earned notoriety after being prosecuted under the Official Secrets Act 1989 for his passing secret documents to the Mail on Sunday in August 1997 that alleged that MI5 was paranoid about socialists, and that it had previously investigated Labour Party ministers Peter Mendelsohn, Jack Straw and Harriet Harman. Annie Matchin, born 1968, is a former MI5 intelligence officer who left the service at the same time as David Shayler, her partner at the time, to help him blow the whistle about alleged criminality within the intelligence agencies. By doing this, they had to give up their careers, go on the run across Europe, August 1997, live in hiding for a year, and then spend the next 2 years in exile in Paris. They, and many of their friends, family, supporters and journalists, claim to have been intimidated, and some of them were arrested and put on trial. A death threat was announced against her on a Middle Eastern radio station. In 2005, Matchin published her first book, Spies, Lies and Whistleblowers, MI5, MI6 and the Shayler Affair, in which she offers criticism of MI5 and the Secret Intelligence Service based on her observations of the two whilst in the employment of MI5. The National Security Agency, NSA, is a United States intelligence agency responsible for global monitoring, collection, decoding, translation and analysis of information and data for foreign intelligence and counterintelligence purposes, a discipline known as signals intelligence, SIGINT. NSA is also charged with protection of U.S. government communications and information systems against penetration and network warfare. 8. 9. The agency is authorized to accomplish its mission through clandestine means. 10. Among which are bugging electronic systems. 11. And allegedly engaging in sabotage through subversive software. 12. 13. Originating as a unit to decipher coded communications in World War II, it was officially formed as the NSA by Harry S. Truman in 1952. Since then, it has become one of the largest of U.S. intelligence organizations in terms of personnel and budget. 6. 14. Operating as part of the Department of Defense and simultaneously reporting to the Director of National Intelligence. Unlike the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, and the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, both of which specialize primarily in foreign human espionage, the NSA has no authority to conduct human source intelligence gathering, although it is often portrayed doing so in popular culture. Instead, the NSA is entrusted with coordination and deconfliction of SIGINT components of otherwise non-SIGINT government organizations, which are prevented by law from engaging in such activities without the approval of the NSA via the Defense Secretary. 15. As part of these streamlining responsibilities, the agency has a co-located organization called the Central Security Service, CSS, which was created to facilitate cooperation between NSA and other U.S. military cryptanalysis components. Additionally, the NSA director simultaneously serves as the commander of the United States Cyber Command and as chief of the Central Security Service. NSA surveillance has been a matter of political controversy on several occasions, such as its spying on prominent anti-Vietnam War leaders or economic espionage. In 2013, the extent of the NSA's secret surveillance programs was revealed to the public by Edward Snowden. According to the leaked documents, the NSA intercepts the communications of over 1 billion people worldwide and tracks the movement of hundreds of millions of people using cell phones. It has also created or maintained security vulnerabilities in most software and encryption, leaving the majority of the Internet susceptible to cyber attacks from the NSA and other parties. Internationally, in addition to the various data sharing concerns that persist, research has pointed to the NSA's ability to surveil the domestic Internet traffic of foreign countries through boomerang routing. 16. Edward Snowden worked for CIA under fake name. Manufactured hero Edward Snowden works for CIA under fake name. According to Edward Snowden, posted on May 28, 2014 by Willy Lemon. Update: there is an interesting aspect to this latest development at the end of this article. I was trained as a spy in sort of the traditional sense of the word, in that I lived and worked undercover, overseas pretending to work in a job that I'm not and even being assigned a name that was not mine. What they are trying to do is that they are trying to use one position to distract from the totality of my experience, which is, I've worked for the Central Intelligence Agency, undercover, overseas, I've worked for the National Security Agency, undercover, overseas, and I've worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency as a lecturer at the Joint Counterintelligence Training. Edward Snowden from RT. Yes, the Snowden trothers, like myself, are patting themselves on the back, saying, "See? What did I tell you?" A widely shared blog post from Scott Creighton, meanwhile, calls Snowden a manufactured hero and expands the conspiracy to include journalists Glenn Greenwald and Laura Poitras, who broke the story. Poitras has a long history of making films that expose various horrific aspects of our new global war of terror to a point, he writes, arguing that Poitras has been bought off by a MacArthur Genius Grant to conduct faux adversarial journalism. Creighton has higher hopes for Greenwald, and thinks the government may be using Snowden to take him down, but at the same time fears that Greenwald has become just another tool for the powers that be. Salon, July 2013. Update: let's keep in mind the original official story of Edward Snowden. Remember, he is supposed to be a high school dropout without any college transcript to speak of. He was supposed to have been working as a security guard at a college when I guess they discovered his code-writing superpowers and sent him off overseas to run spying programs for the CIA. How does that fit in with his latest revelations? When did he have time to undergo spy training from both the CIA and the NSA as he claims? At what point was he giving lectures? And when was he working overseas under an assumed name as a spy? As far as the official story goes, the only time he was working overseas was as Edward Snowden, right? Is that why that character is a high school dropout with no transcript by which to track? Hence, it stands to reason that the manufactured character he played was in fact Edward Snowden, the manufactured hero of Glenn Greenwald's new billionaire sugar daddy. Ed Snowden, the CIA fake actor and former rapper Snow. Breaking. Snowden created by NSA and CIA fake as www.disclose.tv/. What if Edward Snowden is still CIA? The Conspiracy. Page 1. www.abovtopsecret.com. Her project Bluebeam, Arcing to Brainstem Neck, www.liveleak.com/ view I equal 32D_13467968802, September 4th, 2012. Watch the back of my neck, area around brainstem, my throat, and chin. They're using my hair as a fiber optic scribing tool on my flesh. Snowden reveals HAARP's global assassination agenda, Chronicle News/2013.
So in reality, that's what we're really doing with harm depopulating and dissolving people's brain stems and their spine, etc. You can hear other real TIs talk about it. But in reality, they're using Snowden to cover that up basically with a satirical document you can find. It's from some satire website, and then some people think it's real basically. And that's good because then the truth is spreading for universal peace. So when it talks about implants, then they're fakers basically because they do it with synthetictelepathy.com. So they really don't need any implants. They're remotely monitoring and altering brain waves as explained in the Malech patent. Well, then we can search on our brainstem minus Snowden then.
Lesser known turmeric compound regenerates brain. Consciouslyfanews.com. Those waves operate at the same electronic frequency as the truncus encephalli, or brainstem, selectively inducing death seemingly by unbeknownst to victims or their loved ones, HAARP projects ultra-high-powered radio waves. Those waves operate at the same electronic frequency as the truncus encephalli, or brainstem, selectively inducing death seemingly by natural causes, including by some appearing to coroners as innocuous as strokes or heart attacks. The truth about monarch programming, ritual abuse, trauma programming, and cult programming. The information on the site may be triggering. Home, about, mind control technology 101 blog, author Renee Pittman M. Archives for posts with time, HAARP, FBI white fanboys to take action, I remain firm, I will not be silenced. February 9, 2015, 0. Note, as of February 9, 2015, this blog is error and typographical free. If subsequent inserted errors are found, this is the effort of the Operations Center in ongoing attempts to portray an image of the writer and the information. Why was I not surprised to find part, again, in front of a house on my block a white FBI fan after returning from the grocery store this evening? It quite possibly was in preparation for special plans for me until they realized that I recognized it, wrote down the plate number and also the address of the house it is in front of up the street. Actually, I
observed it a few days ago after leaving home after being people cooked inside my home all morning. As the effort continues to escalate around me, in reality all it takes is one powerful, directed energy weapon hit to my heart muscle to create a heart attack or stroke, and it appears as if it occurred naturally. This could then be used, as they possibly hope, to silence me permanently. The effort around me is huge. Know for sure that this operation, or many like it, do not want publicized that these targeting typically spearheaded by the military, and in my case, the USAF, is playing an important role today, as are all branches. After all, this is first and foremost, military technology. It must be unnerving that I continue to report that in the grand scheme of things, I will not be silenced, and that as a result I am expendable as opposed to their shame and disgrace activities. As the Operations Center watched me finalize court documents for Federal District Court today to deliver tomorrow morning, from their satellite real-time entrance and vantage location in my ceiling via the optical lens, along with ongoing monitoring of my internet searches, and keystrokes, etc., the two men on duty watching me earlier could be heard saying, "We can't let that happen," in a faint but distinct voice radiating from this specific location. Also included in court documents is Myron Miz book as an exhibit, along with proof that in November of 2014 the energy weapon attacks were redirected as an intense focus on my left knee. Revealed that at that time it was completely normal in November of 2014. However, after the Operations Center's escalated physically coercive effort intensified by energy weapon torture, a recent MRI, on February 5, 2015, a mere 4 months later, now reveals major damage which appears to have originated out of the blue. That is, unless you can literally feel your knee being literally burned while you try to sleep at night or during the day periodically for about 3 to 5 seconds before moving on to another area in these strategic, well-thought-out operations. Although it is an FBI van, the two men I saw the other morning I have seen before, and coincidentally, there was also a white van parked on the block I moved from, also I now recall, connected and likely deploying the deadly beam then too. These are legalized joint technological testing efforts. As I have mentioned before, they focus on a joint and tissue in the strategic slow kill deterioration process and specifically on areas they believe cannot be proven. Today many suffer hip and knee problems. In my case, as I searched for ways to prove what they are doing, my solution was to begin to chart the damage process via X-rays and MRIs to prove what these vicious non-human humans are doing. Of course doctors did not believe me, but I persisted and thankfully I was referred by Consult for X-rays and MRIs anyway. I also had a complete eye exam added recently, on February 5, 2015, to begin to document the beam's recent intense focus on my right eye, which is being dried up by low-frequency weapon, creating blurred vision through hit and miss efforts periodically, which is the nature and characteristic of slow health deterioration common to these types of attacks from these operations. The doctor noted dry eye syndrome. Fortunately, I recognized what they had been doing and kept purified water by my bed to hydrate my eye when I felt the beam attack. It is clear, since no one has been able to prove what is happening to them, that they believe that it cannot not be proven, or that no one would believe any target as these operations continue covertly taking and destroying lives. The other day, as I prepared to leave home, I saw a man attempting to hide as I drove past. Because it was suspicious, I decided to turn around after driving about 3 blocks and return to lock the garage door to the entrance to my house. When I did, I then saw another male exit the house heading to the van, 6YLC894, which was parked in front of it. This would make a whole lot of sense as I continued to connect the dots. An LAPD officer is said to live in one of the houses on my block directly in this location. He was heading towards the van not knowing that I had turned around, catching him by surprise. When he saw me, he attempted to immediately hide, hoping I would not see his face, but I did. It was clear at that point who both were, and why they were there, and the proof was also in the up-close, powerful energy weapon attacks I was enduring from the unique strength of the portable directed energy weapon originating from locations around me. Lord willing and the creek does not rise, I will be at the courthouse first thing in the morning. You can bet on it. The van positioned there tonight could have been their effort to ensure that I do not make it as the battle rages. If I sleep with protective headgear due to ultrasonic drone attacks, and it slips off during the night, and I then wake to use the restroom under full deadly sound attack, designed to create neurological damage, this is attempted murder. Over the years, when I began my search for answers, there were many influential, credible individuals who paved the way to reality and understanding of what is happening to me, and many others and who have been fighting this same war for exposure of a technological psychophysical mind control reality for years and years. Dr. Judy Wall is one. Below are several articles written by her as the editor of Nexus and Resonance magazine. As she states, this technology dates back over 100 years and, as I reported, are connected to some of Tesla's patents which were advanced. 1. The State of Unclassified Commercial Technology, http://www.bibliotecapliates.net/ Sociopolitica/ /Sociopola_Mintcon30c.htm. 2. The furtive utilization of HAARP electronic warfare technology for the purpose of artificially controlling the Earth's human population. http://9-11theme.therofoulblackoperations.blogspot.com/ 2011/07/ furtive-utilization-of-herp-electronic.html. 3. Aerial mind control, the threat to civil liberties. http://educate-yourself.org/ cn/ Aerial mind control nexus.99.shtml. 4. Military use of mind control weapons by Judy Wall 1988. http://www.whale.to/ b/wall.html. 5. Electronic mind control, the facts, the proof. http://www.rents.com/ general/ mcontrol.htm. 6. Project Gods and Brainships. https://books.google.com/books. It equals COOBNet and MC and PG equals PA184 and LPG equals PA184 and DQ equals Judy plus Wall plus Nexus and Source equals BL and Odds equals Z9 QOR and SIG equals PETCMT1H and NLBI5 JUKWSK9 RWP4 and HL equals N and SAW equals X and A equals PYDZVKFNJ8VOOASM54CYAQ and VED equals OCBOQ6CUAD GKV equals on a page and Q equals Judy %20 Wall %20 Nexus and F equals false. 7. Mind control and contrails. http://www.cyberspotgeorbit.com/AOL/orbit/ news72.htm. Reference http://bigbrotherwatchingus.com. LOL. As I write this, the satellite is making noises to sound as if someone is downstairs in my home while attempting to beam the panic/fear frequency. Wrong woman but heads. Knowledge is power. Awareness is key. Tags Alan Frey. Artificial telepathy, audio surveillance, barcode tattoo, Big Brother, biometrics, brainwashing technology, brainwave monitor, cause stalking, organized vigilante stalking, civil rights violations, community-based harassment, community-oriented policing, covert abuse, covert harassment groups, covert manipulation, covert surveillance, covert technology murder, Big Brother approved, covert war, diary of an angry targeted individual, directed energy weapon, domestic spying, domestic surveillance, domestic terrorism, electromagnetic harassment, electromagnetic technology, electromagnetic weapons, electronic harassment, electronic surveillance, electronic weapons torture, ELF, EO12333, extremely low frequencies, Florida State University, gang stalking, globalization, Gwen Towers, HAARP, harassment, hearing voices technology, history, home surveillance, human rights violations, implants, laws of us PC surveillance, laws of USA, masers, mass control, mass shooters, mass technological manipulation, Medusa, microchip implant, microwave communication towers, microwave energy weapon, microwave harass, categories uncategorized, or mass shooters being programmed by this official patented capability creating ptosis, February 4, 2015. 1. Note: this blog was edited and proofread again at 6:30 p.m. on February 4, 2015. Any inserted errors or typographical errors are the work of the Operations Center monitoring the author's efforts. After making a U.S. patent connection with possible mass shooters and evidence of possibly a connection of being first Monarch/Manchurian MK Ultra mind control programming resulting in ptosis, there has been an intense focus on my left eye lately. Ptosis is also known as droopy eyelid syndrome. The Operations Center targeting me for the past 2 weeks, and 8 years total overall, have embarked on an intense effort to create the condition in me it appears by the new focus. This is likely part their strategic, ongoing psyops designed to hopefully discredit me. These human monsters likely believe that if it appears I have this condition, it could be used by appearance against me. Why else the focus on my left eye recently? Currently both of my eyes are balanced in size. Today, Monarch programming, and the resulting telltale sign of droopy eyelid is said to affect millions who can be activated after hypnosis at any time, some believe. For days the beam had focused on my left eye and specifically the nerve of the left eye painfully. Many targets report creation of cataract from mild hits with the beam which blurs the vision, but this is totally different. Initially they felt that my making this connection could be used to discredit me as a nutcase. That is until I found 3 radio frequency, mind control patents which creates this condition technologically, as well as many other symptoms and technology used in mind control targeting. This specific patented radio frequency technology is being used to terrorize targeted individual in many ways by unwanted sexual stimulation, creating panic attacks, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and also some of the more vicious individuals working these programs to heinously make targets have bowel movements or urinate on themselves. Here are several patents, patented by inventor Hendrikus G. Luz, which could be used to cause droopy eye symptom. Could there be a connection to possibly mind-controlled mass shooters, etc.? The first patent below specifically details the creation of ptosis. Thermal excitation of sensory resonances, patent number 5,800,481. Abstract. In man, autonomic and cortical resonances of the nervous system can be excited by inducing subliminal heat pulses in the skin by means of a resistive heat patch, laser, heat lamp, or microwave radiation, or through a slow air jet that carries a small periodic fluctuation in temperature. Deeply subliminal skin temperature oscillations of frequency near 1/2 Hz induced in a subject by any of these means cause sleepiness, drowsiness, relaxation, a tonic smile, ptosis of the eyelids, a tense feeling, sudden loose stool, or sexual excitement, depending on the precise pulse frequency used. For certain higher frequencies, the induced subliminal skin temperature oscillations cause fractured thought and the slowing of certain cortical processes. The method and apparatus can be used by the general public as an aid to relaxation, sleep, or arousal, and clinically for the control and perhaps treatment of tremors, seizures, and emotional disorders. Type. Grant. Filed, December 28, 1995. Issued, September 1, 1998. Inventor, Hendrikus G. Luz. Pulsative manipulation of nervous system, patent number 6,091,994. Abstract. Method and apparatus for manipulating the nervous system by imparting subliminal pulsative cooling to the subject's skin at a frequency that is suitable for the excitation of a sensory resonance. At present, 2 major sensory resonances are known, with frequencies near 1/2 Hz and 2.4 Hz. The 1/2 Hz sensory resonance causes relaxation, sleepiness, ptosis of the eyelids, a tonic smile, a knot in the stomach, or sexual excitement, depending on the precise frequency used. The 2.4 Hz resonance causes the slowing of certain cortical activities, and is characterized by a large increase of the time needed to silently count backward from 100 to 60, with the eyes closed. The invention can be used by the general public for inducing relaxation, sleep, or sexual excitement, and clinically for the control and perhaps a treatment of tremors, seizures, and autonomic system disorders such as panic attacks. Type. Grant. Filed, August 31, 1998. Issued, July 18, 2000. Inventor, Hendrikus G. Luz. Manipulation of nervous systems by electric field, patent number 5,899,922. Abstract. Apparatus and method for manipulating the nervous system of a subject through afferent nerves, modulated by an externally applied weak electric field. The field frequency is to be chosen such that the modulation causes excitation of a sensory resonance. The resonances found so far include one near 1/2 Hz which affects the autonomic nervous system, and a resonance near 2.4 Hz that causes slowing of certain cortical processes. Excitation of the 1/2 Hz autonomic resonance causes relaxation, sleepiness, ptosis of the eyelids, or sexual excitement, depending on the precise frequency used. The weak electric field for causing the excitation is applied to skin areas away from the head of the subject, such as to avoid substantial polarization current densities in the brain. Very weak fields suffice for bringing about the physiological effects mentioned.
This makes it possible sensory resonances with compact battery-powered devices that have a very low current consumption. Type. Grant. Filed, November 14, 1997. Issued, May 4, 1999. Inventor, Hendrikus G. Luz.
So that's it for now. I'm gonna eat some dinner, and maybe I'll be back later. And remember to check previous broadcasts, like me, and spread the information, like healing antibodies or virally, whatever, for universal peace.